and welcome to Undercurrent, where we look at what's been happening in the Perth community. I'm your host, Lucy Marchant. In June, a car was firebombed and an anti-Islam message was painted outside a Perth mosque. 1 month on, we found out how this attack has impacted the local community. James Burnside with the report.
The Australian Islamic College. For years, it has stood proudly as a symbol of peace, respect between other cultures, and education. But recently, back in June, it was also the site of a terrible act of xenophobia when a car was torched in the front parking lot of the school building. I spoke with Abdullah Khan, the CEO of the Australian Islamic College and the executive principal of this building. Abdullah, thank you for speaking with us today.
Yeah, most welcome. Thank you.
Can you describe the effect the car bombing had on your school, your students and your mosque, and even you on a personal level? Was it shocking?
Obviously, it was very shocking and very disappointing for myself and for the whole school community, in fact, the Muslim community in general in WA as well. But I can tell you one thing, that these acts of terrorism or violence, they come from the fringes. More than 99.99% of the Australian society is peace-loving, and they want harmonious, a cohesive society. In fact, what we have noticed that the school community has come a long way with this event taking place, and they have taken business as usual.
What has the local non-Muslim response to this incident been?
I can say nothing but positive and support, condemnation of this event. I can start from the politicians. Honourable Mark McGovern, the opposition leader, in person visited same morning. He visited the school. Chris Tallentire, the local MLA, he visited at night time when this incident took place, straight away came on site and assured us of his support. We have got lots of support from the Jewish Council of WA, from the churches, from Thornlie Christian College, from the neighborhood. The neighbors flocked to the school with flowers and messages of support. I have received numerous emails from the mainstream society, from the different associations, from Association of Independent Schools, from different corners of the society, just showing their utmost support at this difficult time for us, and which was very heartening, in fact, to see that.
How do you go about moving forward now in the aftermath of such a hateful attack?
We take this incident as an isolated incident. The message that we would like to spread is the message of forgiveness and message of tolerance to those people who have been behind this attack. Education is the key. We need to understand each other. We need to educate our community about all segments of this community. Let us learn about each other, because we have got more commonalities than differences. Let us focus on the common grounds instead of focusing on those few differences that we may have. Hatred is like a weed. It spreads unless it is controlled. We as a nation have a collective responsibility to control this weed. And when this comes from the people of power or people in positions or in politics, it has an impact on the fringes, on that small minority. So it is important for us to manage these weeds and to control them and not to let them spread and divide our community, in fact. But I'm sure that we should not lose hope in this peace-loving nation and people of Australia, and they will not let this community to divide.
My name is James Burnside, and this is Undercurrent.
A measles outbreak recently struck the backpacker community in Northbridge. Our Undercurrent reporter David meets with Linda Salve to talk about the virus.
While naturally occurring measles have been eliminated in WA for almost 20 years, 4 backpackers visiting Perth have recently been diagnosed after one traveller returned back from Bali after contracting the disease, exposing potentially many in the Northbridge area. I spoke to Curtin University Associate Professor Linda Salve to find out if this will have any major repercussions. Is this a bit of a wake-up call for those who haven't been immunised?
Absolutely. When older individuals, particularly young adults, are very susceptible to measles, because if they haven't been vaccinated, fully vaccinated, because they haven't necessarily been exposed to measles before, and adults can get more severe infections, so we tend to see a much higher rate of hospitalisation amongst adults infected with measles than children of school age. So people should be concerned enough, certainly, to make sure that they're fully vaccinated. Until measles is eradicated, we will have to continue to make sure that we're protected against it.
First, starting off with, how dangerous is the measles virus?
Measles can be very dangerous. Many years ago, when people didn't consider it to be that, but in fact measles causes many deaths throughout the world. It's most dangerous in young children, and also when adults acquire the infection they tend to get sicker as well.
Why is measles so dangerous? What is it about it that makes it dangerous?
Well, measles is a highly infectious virus. It causes respiratory symptoms and can subsequently result in pneumonias and subsequently brain damage in some people. So it's just the nature of the virus. It's highly virulent, and one of the reasons why a vaccine was developed against measles very early on was in recognition of how serious the infection is.
The mobile nature of backpacking, does this incur any more risk?
Yeah, basically because we don't have measles circulating in our communities all the time, but there is unfortunately measles around in other countries. What this means is that if somebody isn't immune, that is, isn't fully vaccinated, and they travel, they have much higher risk of acquiring the infection. Unfortunately, what that means is that they can also then bring the infection to Australia and share it around with Australians.
How long is the virus contagious for when someone does contract it?
The virus is contagious for about 4 days prior to anybody developing symptoms, and then for about 4 days after they've developed symptoms. So one of the real issues with the measles virus is that people can be infectious before they even realise they have it.
Now, should those who were in Northbridge at the time of the outbreak, should they express any additional concern?
Well, measles is extremely contagious. You don't have to have very close contact at all with somebody in order to acquire the infection. In fact, there's been some studies that show that even somebody being in a room with measles can leave the room infectious for a couple of hours. So what this means is that if people have been in the vicinity of somebody with measles when they're infectious, they can acquire the infection if they're not immune. And this is likely what's happened in this situation. So if people develop any symptoms which may be suggestive of measles, they should certainly seek medical care and also try to avoid public places where they might expose others to the infection.
Is this a bit of a wake-up call for those who haven't been immunised?
Absolutely. And as I mentioned earlier, when older individuals, particularly young adults, are very susceptible to measles because if they haven't been fully vaccinated, because they haven't necessarily been exposed to measles before, and adults can get more severe infections. So we tend to see a much higher rate of hospitalisation amongst adults infected with measles than children of school age. So people should be concerned enough, certainly, to make sure that they're fully vaccinated. Until measles is eradicated, we will have to continue to make sure that we're protected against it.
David Cumming, reporting for Undercurrent.
The new Wellington Busport has just opened this week. Elise went along to the city to find out Perth commuters' first impressions.
Perth's Wellington Street Busport is now open to the public. The project took 2 years to complete at a total cost of $217 million. Today we are here to find out how Perth commuters feel about the new Busport and what they think of Perth's public transport.
I like it. It looks like an airport. We haven't been there. We've seen it on TV, but it looks quite good.
It could do with a bit more work, but it looks pretty good.
The app is pretty bad. It's like really glitchy, the Transperth Journey Planner app. It always glitches up, but otherwise like the service is pretty good.
Has the new facility improved your commute?
Well, to start off with, it's quite confusing, but there are a lot of signs and there is a lot of help in there to ask which gates you go through and a lot of signs to direct you in the right way.
Before the bus station, I used to sit in the cold and I was waiting for bus, so when will my bus come, but now I'm comfortable.
I like the physical layout of the bus station. The only thing is that it's actually added an extra 12 minutes onto my bus trip because you have to now come into the city and add a few extra traffic lights.
Why do you choose to take public transport?
Because it's pretty cheap and it's a pretty good environment in Perth, I suppose.
Because it's very convenient, it's very pleasant ride, and they're all very helpful here.
Generally because it's cheaper, I guess. and it's really close to my work here.
Yeah, it would probably be the convenience and the cheapness.
Because we're pensioners.
So you think it was worth the $217 million it cost?
I didn't say that.
I guess that's still to be decided. It's pretty early to say that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Judged by at least those persons close to me, they appreciate its being there.
What do you think of the amount of people that use Transperth being at its lowest in 5 years?
I can't really speak for the trains as I don't catch the train, but yeah, the buses seem to be maybe the biggest pain point.
I think it's improving out of sight, really. I find it hard to believe that that's a fact, actually.
I guess like all the young folks, they're like excited to have their licences and they just want to keep driving everywhere.
What do you think of Transperth services overall?
Overall, it's been a very good experience for me since I haven't had a car.
Ever since we started using it, that's been good.
It's reliable, like I was saying, aside from if you're partying up late at night in the city. But 80 cents here and there gradually becomes somewhat pricey.
How do you think public transport in Perth compares to international public transport systems?
It's probably quite far behind like some of the European cities. In terms of Australia, it's probably getting up there with other cities, but maybe it doesn't have as much coverage across the whole city.
Yeah, I mean, I used to live in Melbourne, so compared to that, it's obviously got a bit of a way to go.
I just know about 2 and 3 countries, but I find it best.
I think it's absolutely tops the public transport here.
I'm Elise Van Aken for Undercurrent.
Stay with us for more Undercurrent after a short break. Welcome back to Undercurrent. The Colombian community in Perth held big celebrations on Saturday for Colombian Independence Day. Bas Tedros joined the party.
What an incredible evening here at the Colombian Independence Fiesta. Incredible music, incredible people, and the vibe of the Latino flame, as well as the independence essence. Real amazing vibe here in Perth.
We have a lot of fun.
You've had a lot of fun, yeah?
Yes.
You've lost your voice?
Yes, a little bit.
What's this costume made for you?
Okay, these costumes is for carnival, you know, Caribbean carnival. But we think when we bring all people together, this is our purpose. Bring everyone together around all the culture.
How are you this evening?
I'm fine, I'm great.
What's your full name, please?
My name is Luz Dos Santos.
Excellent. And are you having a great evening?
Yes, the music is fantastic, the atmosphere is great, and the people are wonderful.
Beautiful. I feel like it's captured the feeling of the Independence Day in Colombia. What is the meaning of independence in Colombia to you?
The meaning of the independence is being able to be free, being able to express yourself, being able to have a republic. Yeah, so it was great actually to be independent from the Spaniards long time ago. Yeah.
Awesome, excellent. Thank you very much, and Viva Colombia!
Viva Colombia!
Woo! Thank
you. We danced two dances. Which the first one was the gaita, and the second one was the pilanderas. The gaita represent how the people collect all the rice, you know, in the land. They put the rice, the sand in the ground, and then we collect everything.
How are you tonight?
Good, very good, thank you.
Excellent. You're having a good time?
Very good, really nice. The music's great, and all the Colombians are here. It's really nice to be here, and the place is beautiful. I think for Colombians, I am from Colombia, we feel like it's a great day and we celebrate, but also all Colombians always had a reason to celebrate, and the independence is a really good reason. So we love dancing. Any reason is good for dancing.
How's everybody going tonight? How's everybody going tonight?
My name is Sergio Grisales. I'm from Colombia.
Wonderful. Sergio, what does it mean to be celebrating the independence of Colombia here in Perth?
Well, we are far, far away from our country, and this is the day to remember how far we are and to get everybody involved in the culture.
Awesome, and what a great culture it is. Great music, great vibe, great community. Is there a big Colombian community in Perth?
Yeah, actually it has been growing significantly during the last years. And yeah, you can see everybody's dancing, everybody's happy. That is the idea.
Excellent. How long have you been doing this?
It's been around 5 years. And yeah, I have had an amazing time doing it. I really enjoy it. Many people here is from different cities, and this is the time to get everybody here from Bogota, Cali, everywhere of Colombia, all admiring here.
What city are you from in Colombia?
I'm from Cali, Colombia, the capital of the world of salsa music. That's pretty good. Yeah, Viva Colombia, there you go.
Thank you. Cheers. And are you having a good time tonight?
Yeah, of course. Really good time.
Is this capturing the essence of Colombia and the Independence Day?
Yeah, it is actually. This is all the music that you hear in Colombia. Colombia. Besos.
Thank you. What's your name?
Steven.
And Steven, you're the DJ here tonight?
Yeah. I don't know, Colombian people used to dance a lot and smiling and be crazy all the time. So yeah, you can hear the music and it's our music. It's like our happiness. 206 years ago, I don't know, I miss Colombia for that reason because we can celebrate a lot. I'm gonna make a performance. Like at 11, I'm gonna represent, Celia Cruz.
Viva Colombia!
All right, Viva Colombia!
Gracias. Thank you. Gracias. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you! Thank you to you! Azúcar, mami! Azúcar!
I think this event has actually captured the essence of the independence of Colombia. Best Tadros for Undercurrent.
A new art exhibition is in town. Continental Shift, curated by Melissa Hartley, displays 19th century landscape art from the Americas and Australia side by side. Bianca Wood went to check it out.
We are at the Western Australian Art Gallery for the Continental Shift exhibition, which is a joint venture with the Terra Foundation of Chicago, the Western Australian Art Gallery and the University of Western Australia.
I introduced the idea of this exhibition with Peter Brownlee from Chicago, and we're very fortunate that the Art Gallery of Western Australia took up the idea so that we could show its collection next to the Terra Foundation's collection. And it's the first time in Australia that the Terra Foundation has mounted an exhibition with a purpose-built teaching unit. They are funding the arrival of 3 expert lecturers from America to give their view of the show, really distinguished thinkers and speakers about 19th century landscape. And then at the symposium, we're having a number of Australian experts from Melbourne and Sydney and Canberra coming over. So there'll be a real mixing of experts on Germany, Britain, America and Australia. So it'll be a real cross-cultural event.
The Terra Foundation evolved out of the collection of a single businessman, Daniel J. Terra, who started collecting around the bicentennial year, 1976, the 200th year of our independence from Britain. He began building his collection, buying paintings of the 19th and early 20th century, and over time started to build a collection that could tell the story of American art and its development over that period. So I think he built a collection that was relatively comprehensive for its size, and was always intended to be able to convey that narrative of the development of American art and cultural history from the late colonial period to the early 20th century.
Well, I think having the Terra Foundation working in collaboration with the Art Gallery and the University of WA is a very positive thing, and there is a very strong connection between Australia, including Western Australia and the United States, of course, and having this cultural, artistic connection really deepens that relationship, and I think that's a very positive thing.
The works from the gallery's collection, I was very keen to find works that I thought had good connections with the works from the Terra Foundation. For me, it was quite interesting because some of the Australian works are made a little bit later than the American works, so it was interesting to look at perhaps a little bit of a time lag, but really was trying to find works that had similar approaches to the landscape. Some artists who also had a similar training background, so Von Gerard, for example, who trained in Germany like one of the American painters. So trying to find those kind of connections in the work so that audiences could actually enjoy that as well. I really hope that the audiences are engaged by the similarities and differences in the landscape paintings that were made on the two continents. I hope they actually just have a real joy of actually looking at paintings up close and thinking about what they're looking at.
Back in the day of around settlement, Aboriginal people, and by that time, Aboriginal people probably wouldn't have wanted to be around most settlers and stuff like that because of the way that Australia pretty much started out. You know, very hard. The cultures didn't mix, the laws didn't coincide, the people didn't understand each other in the way that, you know, each other's law was about how to live in that country. I can understand there's no representation of our people. Because they wouldn't have been around. And there's one particular one that I did see from an American artist, and it was called The Last of the Mohicans. And that was quite sad. The title, Last of the Mohicans, and then you see a man standing over another man. Darkness, the landscape is painted in darkness when the land is very colourful.
And what do you hope people will take away from the evening when they go home?
Well, that they have spent a nice couple of hours in the gallery, and they feel like this is a good place to visit on a regular basis. I'm sure that most of our supporters come to the gallery several times a year, but it's again about the feeling that this is home and they can come anytime, not only when they are invited for an evening. 30,000, 40,000 people will see the exhibition. Yeah.
So having seen the exhibition myself, I would highly recommend that you come and have a look at it. It starts July 30th and runs until February next year. Bianca Wood, Undercurrent.
Norita Omar survived an earthquake and recovered from a brain injury. Today she stands strong and looks to inspire others. Bas Tedros met with Norita at her Strive and Thrive event that was held last weekend.
Today I am interviewing one of Perth's most inspirational people, where she's pulled together a community of people from community leaders, business people, hypnotherapists, chiropractors, kinesiologists, and all these wellness industry people to help people come out of depression and anxiety and find a place of support and find a way to get out of their own dark days and be inspired within themselves. Norita, it's amazing to see you.
Thank you.
What do you feel inspired you to be here today?
I'm inspired because I know that the community needs this. I'm inspired because I know there's a lot of people in the community that, need to have a safe environment like this for them to come out and just be themselves, you know. What I want to do is that to inspire them to come out, to guide and connect them, with the right, supporting tools, for them to be able to feel safe that they can come out and instead of staying in isolation, they can actually join the community because there are lovely people out here that, we want to help.
How did you go from the dark times and the struggles with depression, anxiety, your injury, to then formulating and putting this great event together? What did it take and how did you transition?
When I had the brain injury led to my depression and my anxiety, and I didn't know how to handle it at the time. I lost my friend to suicide last year, and because of that, it brought back some of my dark memories, which I went through 10 years ago. And I know what it feels like. I've been there, and I know that there's nothing I can do to save my friend, but I know that there's a lot of things I can do personally to help the ones that are still around. So I can't do it myself because I'm just a girl with, I've got my own limitations since the brain injury and all that. But I knew that if I were to rally a group of heart-centered businesses together, and together we can do a lot of big things to make a difference.
What did you feel were the most resourceful tools that you were able to tap into in terms of support and help at the time?
I learned about gratitude. I learned about being grateful of what you have instead of focusing about what you do not have. I use essential oils because with the anxiety and the depression and all that, my emotions was it goes up and down, and like I could go quite mentally crazy sometimes. So with the essential oils, it keeps me calm. And then I was taught to do self-hypnosis. And apart from that, there were some other tools like meditation. Yeah, meditation is one thing. Because before the injury, I was a very busy person. I never stop and pause. So meditation was good because it keeps me relaxed and it keeps me grounded. It keeps me kind of like just be there and be in the moment. This is the reason why we do what we do now, because I know that not all tools is suitable for everyone, but I just want to share my story. I want to share the tools that work for me, and may that inspire, people to get help and find the tools that might be suitable for them.
Any final words for our viewers that could inspire them to be more inspired to help themselves and others?
Well, my personal advice is, first of all, get out of the isolation, and also you need to know that you're not the only one. There are other people out there like us. There are other people, who's facing life challenges. So you're not the only one. So come out of the isolation, speak up. There's nothing wrong with having depression. There's nothing wrong with having anxiety. All these are just challenges. It's just part of life.
Bas Tadros for Undercurrent.
Thank you for watching this episode of Undercurrent. Don't forget to catch up with us online and download our apps so you can watch us on your mobile devices. Take care, and we'll see you next week.